Hi everyone, Angus Campbell here, Saturday the 26th of October 2019. So following on from the work last night to fit the oil pump, now we're getting to the stage of thinking about fitting the inner timing cover. Just to say that I've torqued up the nuts now on the oil pump to 10 foot-pounds, and also the gearbox mounting plate nuts have been tightened up to 20 pounds. And just one query that I had from an interested party, Peter, asking about whether I should have Loctited these. Then that's a consideration, but these lock nuts are still pretty good, and also we've got a tab washer on this plain nut as well. So maybe for belts and braces we could have done, but I don't think it'll be necessary. And with any bike, I always look at the oil pressure warning light when it's hot and on tick over, because if that starts to flash a little, then that's usually a bit of a warning sign. So we'll keep our eye out for that. So if we look to see what we need to prep next. So I'm going to spend a bit of time. It's a filthy rainy day here today, so I'm going to spend a bit of time in the warp of the kitchen, polishing up and finishing cleaning up the inner timing case. We've also got the outer case to do as well. You can see I've got a new cover for the inspection cover for the points. It's not an original. It's been turned from one piece, and it's only got 2 mounting screws. But they've done a pretty good job of it. We need to polish that up as well. Kickstart quadrant that we'll need to fit before we put the inner case in, and then to secure the inner case, it has its own separate screws that go in these recessed holes here. 1, 2, I think there's some more as well. That one, and that one as well, I think, and that one. So there's 5 of them, and these are UNC screws. So we've managed to dig out of the hoard several of them. So we'll some of them are different sizes, so we need to make sure that we get the right sizes in the right holes, clean them up. Some of the heads are a little chewed, and won't focus. That actually isn't as bad as it looks when it's not focusing. Come on, focus on my finger. Nope. Anyway, some of these are worse than others, but I think they'll be okay. So first job, get this case cleaned up. Then we'll get some silicone on either side of the gasket, put the kickstart quadrant in, and then we should be good to go to fit this case. Nice view of the garden, but more importantly, kitchen table, proper work. Okay, that's enough cleaning up for today. Getting there, not too bad, but when you consider it was as bad as that one there, the primary chain case, then it's going to come up alright, but it'll take a few more goes yet. Lots of scars on this one too, but we'll polish it up, but I'm not going to rub all that out. This is its original case, so we're going to keep that. That looks rather nice, but it is a turned up one from billet, so it's not an original, but you just can't get them. This one is an original, so that's fine, and it's a 3-hole, so it definitely goes in the primary chain case. You can see that I think they might have a bit of problem sealing it in the past. What on earth they were doing there, I have no idea. But anyway, it's the right one. And the There is supposed to be a gasket on that, but the other thing that's an issue at the moment is I am using a gasket set that I purchased deliberately because it's not these awful green gaskets, but there's quite a lot of gaskets missing in this, and that's one of them. So I'll have to source those separately, but anyway, not too much of a problem. So let's prep this case then, the inner timing case, to install onto the bike. So I've already just pressed in a new oil seal there for the auto advance. Well, it's actually the idle pinion shaft that also acts as the mount for the auto advance. What we need to do now is just before we put this on is build up. We don't have to do it now, but we are going to do it now, and just build up the gear change return spring. So the spring sits in there. We need to press these prongs the other way around to go either side of that stop, and they then go against this, which is your gear change. But to keep that spring in shape, there's a cup that goes on that stud there, and just a nut and washer to go in there. So we'll just put that together now. Okay, there we are. It's on. The trick with this spring is that when it's not under tension, these two prongs are crossed over. And instead of installing the spring first and then trying to lever a prong over to the other side across the stop and across the lever against which the spring provides pressure, then the best way is to twist the spring first, or basically place it over the post in this end on its side, and then twist it over, which you can do with your fingers before then putting the cup and the lock nut onto the stud. And you don't need any special tools to do that. It's fairly straightforward, but that's the key. Fit the prongs first, the way round. The spring coil end will be twisted well over, but then just twist that onto there, no problem at all. Okay, that's all ready to go on. So we'll go over to the bike now, and we'll just prep the gasket. Right, let's get cracking. So all I've done since you last saw this side is put the kickstart shaft in position, and that engages fine with the ratchet. The quadrant engages with the ratchet. I'll just check the parts book to make sure there's nothing goes behind that kickstart quadrant there. No thrust washer or anything like that. Just a sec. No, there doesn't, and that's because actually the bearing that it sits in has got a shouldered face on it on this side, so it connects directly with that. Oopsie daisy. Just give that shaft a little tiny bit of oil. Okay. this end as well, because this half of this shaft sits in a bearing in the inner timing case that we're about to put on, which where it gets most of its support. Right, what we'll do first is get a nice thin layer of gasket cement around the face before we then stick the gasket to it. Oh, actually, and I must remember as well, before we put the case on, is that there's a hollow shaft that we need to put on the end of the oil pump spindle, and that hollow shaft is like an extension that the tacho drive shaft goes into once we put the cover on. So we must remember to do that. Put quite a decent layer on the bottom here, as there's engine oil in the front part of the case and there's gearbox oil sitting in the bottom of the back half of the case. Okay. There we go. Press that down a little. And then we'll do the same again to this side of the gasket face. Which actually be a little easier, as it's something a little better that the silicone can adhere to as you're smearing it on. Because of the material, it's just so much easier to get a nice thin layer as it sticks. Nice even thin layer. Okay. Right, so as I said earlier, before we put the case on, just put that hollow extension shaft that's gonna foul actually getting the case on. So let's just have a look at it. So I think we can push it in from the outside of the case, so we'll put that in afterwards. Final job, I'm just going to put a touch of oil. In various places. Just so it's at least got some. When it first fires up. Okay. Right, case on. What we have to do is jiggle it a bit to try and compress the plungers on the gear change. The way to do it is just have to give that a bit of a tap. Let's have a think here. Let's get some grips on that spline. I don't have a gear lever yet, I'll order it. Quite want to go. There she goes. I think what was stopping it was just making sure that the other end of the gear change shaft located in the crankcase. There she goes. And then once the gear change shaft is located in its crankcase support as well, then you've got a couple of locating dowels that you just need to tap over as well. So that's it. It's on. And what we'll do is put in 3 of the screws. Let me just go and check the manual, because these screws I've seen are all different sizes: 2 1/4, 2 inch, 1 3/4, 1 1/2 UNC. Right, so I'll do the triangle. 1, 2, 3 to start with. Now this one I'm screwing in at the moment will need to come out again, I think, because there's a small clip that sits on there which a loop on it to act as a guide for the contract breaker wires that come from here and out through a hole at the back here, through a grommet, through a hole at the back. Where is it? Up the top there, there it is, yeah. Let's get a couple of more screw down at the bottom here, just to make sure we've got the whole of the mating faces home. So we need quarter UNC by 2 1/4. I've got a feeling I haven't got another one. By 3/4. Right, I don't have any originals because when we first got this motorcycle, then it was in a bit of a mess and certain pieces were already dismantled. But I do have some in stock. Some of these are going to be a little too long. Yeah, they are. Certainly got one for the bottom one here anyway, which is 3/4. That's good. Actually, I'll get screw the bottom down. There she goes. That's nice. And another one there too. That's it. That one's a touch too long. I believe we need 2 1/4. That's going to be, that's too short. No, I can't get it out. I need to get the pick to get it out. That's too short. Okay, not to worry, we're going to order a couple up, one for that one there, that hole there, and one for that hole there. They're internals. There's another one at the back here that we need to fit. Let's just do that while we're here. I'd imagine that's going to be a 1/2 or a 3/4. Maybe a 1/2 actually. Yep. Nice. Okay. That's fine. Right, so we go to the front now. Here we've got the tacho drive. So I think we should be able to push that in. put it on a spindle so it doesn't fall in. And there we are, it's in. Then what we can do is put the gasket on here with a bit of cement, sorry, silicone. Smear a little on the other side. And then with the shaft in the housing, we can insert that through the hollow tube that we've put in, and then it should engage if we twist it. It does engage, I think. Let's do that without that. It's not a good fit though. Oh, here we go. It hadn't engaged properly. Still not too happy with that. Oh. Right, there's a problem for a start. The hole in the gasket isn't big enough. So if we try and fit this with the gasket off, it's fine. Oh, there we go. It's just gone in. That's better. It is okay. Just locate it properly now. That's better. The gasket was preventing it from the shaft from seating properly, because the gasket needs to be on outside of the flange. That's why. So last thing to do then on this is that there is a tab washer. Both these screws. right screwdriver. One. I've just realised something actually, that this obviously isn't an original kit, because all this part was missing when I got the bike, and they've supplied this with round-headed screws, so obviously that tab washer isn't going to be very effective, so we might have to look out for some small set screws for that, hexagonal head set screws. Anyway, we'll get it seated in. And we won't bend the tabs over just yet. There we are. Job done. It's not seen a tacho drive on there for a few years. So, just wipe the excess silicone, if there is any. And that's it, inner cover on. Progress. Just making sure that the oil seal is fine around the idler pinion, which it is. I'm just going to put the footrest back on for safekeeping. Can't remember actually if you can get the outer case on with the footrest in position. I think you can. Soon find out, we'll do a test. Oh, no, we're not going to be able to do that, I don't think. Pretty sure we're not. We'll see anyway. The outer case isn't ready to go on yet, but may as well see if we can do a bit of a test fit. Maybe we can. just want to do up this bolt so it doesn't, this footrest stays in its locating pins. Doesn't droop down and scratch the frame. There we are. Now it's done up tight actually. That's extremely close. Now I've got the right length screws. This is just a test fit. We'll take this outer cover off. We've got all the points and auto advance, etc. to fit yet, but this is just to get an idea. It's always nice to see progress, and also it just will also put a bit of seating pressure on the inner cover too. And then there is one to put that behind that footrest. Short one at the back here. Ooh, no, long one again. A bit too long. Looks like we'll need to order that one up as well. That's not the correct size. What about this one here? That's a bit too long too. I think that'll be too short here. Right, so we'll need to look those sizes up too, see if we can order some up. But okay, we'll leave it there, everyone, for now. More progress, and we've just got a bit of tidying up to do, but now I think we'll turn our attention, while we're waiting for a few bits and pieces, to the primary drive, which will be in the next video. So we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for any comments. Thanks for your interest. And I'll see you again soon, probably towards next weekend. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Cheers. Bye-bye.